So here I am outside of McDonald's, as you can see. If you've been following me for quite a while, you know I've started to do the last few years lots of experiments to test any theory, any ideology. Let's put it to a test and see what happens. So my very first ever experiment was, could I lose body fat eating junk food? And I was telling somebody about this a couple of months back, and they were saying, well, that's fine about eating whatever, a bit of chocolate, a bit of bread here and there, so forth, but you could never do that eating McDonald's. So I thought, well, let's put it to a test, let's give it a challenge, let's see what would happen. So I went back to my basic formula. If you followed me before the bodybuilding competition, you know that when I'm losing body fat, I come down to 2,000 calories a day. I try and walk 20 kilometers plus, and it's guaranteed results. So the question would be is, if I took these 2,000 calories from McDonald's, what would happen? And the results were pretty much as I expected, not as my friend would expect, that I lost body fat at almost exactly the same rate that I would have done if I was at home eating healthier foods to fulfill that 2,000 calorie mark. So the reason I did this and what it shows to you and what to take from this is that the most important thing when it comes to getting in shape is the amount of food you're eating versus the amount of movement that you are doing. And though McDonald's is a pretty poor food source to say the least, it shows that you don't have to be perfect with your diet to be able to get the results that you want to get. Now, most people don't want to eat a McDonald's literally every day for 6 to 7 days. Most people want just to have just that little bit of freedom on their diet, which is what I encourage clients to do, and it won't get in the way of results. You can see in this experiment where literally for 7 days all I've eaten is McDonald's, then you can still get the results. Now, there's some interesting things that come alongside this. The question is, am I suggesting you should go and eat McDonald's? Well, the problem comes in this, is that I'm pretty well trained when it comes to dieting. You don't, get down to 4% body fat without being pretty good at dieting. So what I found was following McDonald's routine was much, much harder than normal when I'm eating my, better foods. It was a lot more difficult to go in a restaurant, if that's a restaurant, and only eat 2,000 calories. So, when you're going in there, you're having a burger and some medium chips, that's all you're going to be able to eat 3 times a day, and that hits you up. There's no room for drinks, there's no room for extra stuff, there's no room for snacking outside of McDonald's, obviously. So the whole result is, most people, if you just ate naturally at McDonald's, you wouldn't be eating 2,000 calories. You'd probably be on like 4,000 calories just, on 3 meals, just eating normally, not even pushing it as far as that goes. Also difficult is, you're having to wait long periods without eating. McDonald's doesn't open till whatever, 12, 1. If you're going to eat a typical McDonald's burger, then do you have the skills to not eat till 12, 1 o'clock in the day? Obviously, I've developed that over time, so it's not that difficult for me. But for anybody trying this experiment, I think they're going to struggle. One good thing from this experiment, though, was having to go out to get your food. So walking to get your food was quite a good thing. The nearest McDonald's where I am, I'm in Brazil doing this at the moment, but it's like almost 1.5 kilometers from the house. So just by going to eat there 3 times a day, that's already making you walk 9 kilometers, which is more than most people would walk. So it was an interesting experiment as far as that goes. So the conclusion to take was, I hit my 2,000 calories, I did my normal walking, I lost body fat at exactly the same rate as if I was eating clean foods. This is a short-term experiment, I only did it for a week, but it does show that you can lose body fat if you get these foods in place, the exercise in place. The take-home message is, you don't need to be perfect in your diet. When I'm prescribing diets, I'm allowing for people to make mistakes, people to have treats, people to find taste in their diet. That's no problem to me. Another thing to take from it is feeling like this. I didn't feel great. The foods aren't great. I didn't feel great eating them. When I'm normal on a healthier diet, then it's not that bad, to be honest. I don't feel that brutal. You don't feel sluggish. You don't feel so bad. Here you can definitely notice some of the effects, like sneezing after eating, that kept happening. So that suggests that I was sensitive to something. So it definitely takes a toll on its health. But when it comes to body fat, it's an energy issue primarily. Now, I'm just dieting for a week. If I had to do this for 3 weeks, 3 months, I reckon you probably see some quite negative effects. But I still believe, and pretty sure you could, if you kept that calorie intake at the right level, kept the movement at the right level, you could still get results even eating the dreaded McDonald's.